Happy Friday, everybody,
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
and welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts,
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
and today we have joining us all the way from Emporia, Kansas, Alexa Dawson. And it looks like folks are ready for Friday fun. And
Yeah.
says it's the perfect Friday for listening to this. And yeah, Connie joining us from
Hey,
Richfield.
Connie.
Hi.
Linda, my mom, joining us from New Haven,
Hi, Mom.
Connecticut. And Anne says, perfect Friday for listening to this. And it's true. Here in the Twin Cities, it's kind of gray and cool and like, bleh. But yay, Ted. Yes. This is what we need to lift our spirits. I don't know what it's like where you are, Alexa, but it's a little dark and
yeah, but this is our 70s sunny always here on the back catalog.
it's true.
Listening
It's
party.
always sunny at the back
Yes,
catalog listening
it
party.
actually is really nice here in Kansas. So I'm just going to beam all that to you guys right now.
Excellent.
Perfect.
We like that. And Ted says, I'm so excited I can't even use proper punctuation. And also shout out to Bevan, also tuning in. Don't want to leave him out, Dad. So if you are new to the Back Catalog Listening Party, this is the show where we invite different guest artists to revisit old records with us. We have a little old happy hour, music listening party, and again, Friday at 4 p.m. for us, it's happy hour, and we like to enjoy a beverage or snack. And if you are tuned in, tell us where you're tuned in from. If you are enjoying a snack or a beverage, feel free to let us know what you're enjoying. I can tell you that right now I'm enjoying a little more from my special wine box
Oh, the
of
extreme
my
wine
dry
box?
the
Oh,
extreme folk
folk
wine.
extreme.
That's
Wow.
right. The folk
Wow.
extreme wine. And so I'm enjoying that today. And Tony, what are you enjoying on this
I'm
Friday?
I'm staying local here with a Fulton Lonely Blonde ale
Oh, and a beautiful pint glass, I
in
might
my
add.
back catalog listening party commemorative pint glass.
That's lovely.
And Alexa, I heard you got a special brew just for today's show.
I did. I did. So my friends down at Radius Brewing Company have contributed this lovely beverage for this plug that I'm about to deliver. Radius Brewing Company, Emporia, Kansas. This is Suns Up. It's their farmhouse ale.
Mm.
And I don't know if any of you are anywhere near Kansas, but right now they have some really great stuff. They have a thing called the Wood Butcher that's like 11.5% that they wouldn't let me bring this much home just because it's a little powerful, but they have some really delightful things. So check them out.
Awesome. Yeah, today's
Excellent.
episode brought to you by this wonderful brewery. We'll put that in the show notes
Yes.
so you can learn more about it. And throughout this show, if you hear things that you're interested in, we do kind of keep track of those things in our show notes, which we'll have on our website. But just to tack on to what Ellen was saying about this happy hour, it's a conversation too. So if you're out there listening, enjoying, jump in the real time comments and tell us where you're from. And if you have questions for Alexa, we'll try to get to all of them before the end of the hour.
Yes. And we are so excited to have Alexa joining us. We got to hang out, the three of us together a few weeks ago at the Folk Alliance Regional Midwest Conference in Chicago. And we're just really excited to have Alexa here, especially because this is a big day for Alexa because today is not only the day she's joining us on Back Catalog, but it's also release day for Alexa. She has a new single out with Stanley Hotel
Mm.
called Sweet Sisters. Congratulations, Alexa.
Yay.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Cheers to
I'm
that.
so thrilled. Yes.
Here's
Cheers.
to new music. We like
Yes.
new music here too because all new music eventually becomes back catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And we'll talk more about the single in a little bit later in the hour. But for now, we want to dive into the record that we're going to be revisiting today with Alexa, her 2020 album, Music is Medicine, which I think we all can agree on here
Yes.
at the Back Catalog
That could
listening
be one of
party.
our like subtitles or mottos
Yes.
The
here.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We always talk about how this is the best hour of the week, and no matter what else is happening, this is kind of what sets the tone for our weekend. And Joe has it right. Happy Friday. And also a hello to Alex,
Hey,
tuning in from
Alex.
South Minneapolis, enjoying a little bourbon, and
Nice.
need some hot music. Well, we're going to get that hot music for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Alexa, for folks who are maybe not as familiar with your music, maybe you could let us know a little bit about your origin story. Where did you grow up? How did you fall into making music? And kind of where this album fits into your musical career.
Yeah. So, music as medicine was pretty pivotal actually to my music career. I grew up in Oklahoma. I grew up playing guitar with my family on the front porch and singing those old gospel tunes and standards, and ended up finding myself at the Walnut Valley Bluegrass Festival when I turned 20, and I had a 2-month-old baby. So I was a young mama with nothing to do, and finally accepted my grandparents' invitation to go to what I thought was going to be a boring gathering of old people playing mountain dulcimers. Turns out it was like a thing that changed my whole life. And I ended up, I ended up starting to write and perform a lot more after that, and just kind of discovering myself as a songwriter. And several years after that, joined, had been playing around with a group called the Hitchhikers, Alexa Dawson and the Hitchhikers, and then joined up with some girlfriends of mine, and we formed the Skirts, which later became We Da Skirts, and we've got a couple albums out as well. And if you know anything about large groups of women, it's hard to get us on the same schedule. And I really wanted to push forward with a career in songwriting and music. And so, with their blessing, I kind of branched off and ended up with a grant from First People's Fund to do this album. And really did it as sort of a concept album of talking about the seventh generation prophecies and retracing those paths that the ancestors have left for us. So, growing up in Oklahoma, the Potawatomi people are actually from the Great Lakes area, and my family specifically is from Chicago, and so, and then before that from Michigan, and lots of relatives from Michigan. So, my first trip to Michigan was like a big eye opener, and got to take another trip down there to really focus on like getting material for songwriting, and that's sort of how this album came about.
So that you actually went there as part of the process here to put these songs together to kind of
Partially, yeah. I mean, I went for a food summit. So like, I'm really into like native seed keeping and Three Sisters gardening, which is what the new single is all about. And so I got to go to a food summit, and also to our annual gathering, which is held at one of our 9 groups of Potawatomi. We're down in Oklahoma. There's another in Kansas, but everyone else is sort of like up in y'all's area up there. And so that year we went to Wasuxing, which is in the Huron Bay in Parry Sound, Ontario. So there was just a lot that went along with recording this album that was all about like digging into the past in order to be a good descendant and a good ancestor, and sort of that place in between my ancestors and those 7 generations after. So that was sort of the tension of that place. And the first song that we're playing, what is it? Which one is it we're picking first?
First song we have lined up is called Changed.
Yeah, so Changed was kind of about the way that things have to evolve, and like the way that things from one day to the next. Like when we started this conversation today, we've like lost thousands of cells in our body and regenerated thousands more, so like nothing is ever the same. And it's only natural that things do change and move. And so that was sort of the flexibility that I think that I needed to like take these older stories from my past and like create something new out of them and situate myself in that good place in between.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I think kind of echoing a couple of folks in the comments here, including Jocelyn, who says, ready for my Friday medicine. I think it's time to jump right in with that nice setup.
Great.
Is there anything else you want to say about this one before we dive in?
Just that it really is going to feature that banjo, which I think both of you are going to appreciate.
Yes, caught our ear.
Peter Oviatt was the engineer on this project. We recorded at Moonflower Sounds in Taos, New Mexico. Peter is a dear friend of mine, and he's like, no offense, but I feel like he's the best banjo player on earth. And I just love the way he plays.
No offense taken.
I love the way he plays. He has a beautiful ear and sensibility about the instrument, because he can make it really sound truly beautiful, and I just love that about him. So Yeah, I really think you're all gonna like the banjo on this one.
Oh, we are. Yes, perfect way to start our Friday medicine. This is Alexa Dawson with Changed here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Didn't keep no scrapbook. I don't remember the day. I really don't recall if it was shine or rain, but something changed. Oh, everything changed. I can't do no other. Nothing stays the same. You can try your hardest, but you can't stop time. Round and round in circles, ever yours and mine. But something changed. Oh, everything changed. I can't do no other. Nothing stays the same. You cannot go back. You cannot stand still. Keep moving forward, 'cause you know I will. Something changed. Oh, everything changed. I can't do no other. Nothing stays the same. Something changed. Something changed. I can't do no other. Nothing stays the same. I can't do no other. Nothing stays the same.
All right. Alexa
Nice.
Dawson giving us our dose of some tasty medicine.
Banjo
I know
medicine.
Banjo, the best kind. And
that was very good medicine.
Yes.
that was from Alexa Dawson's 2020 album Music is Medicine, which we are revisiting today with Alexa joining us from her home in Emporia, Kansas. But as you mentioned, this album was recorded in Taos, New Mexico.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about why you chose to record there, and did you stay there for the time you recorded it, or did you just kind of go back and forth?
The whole album was recorded in one weekend. I want to say it was over 3 or 4 days that we did it. Myself, my partner Kelby Kimberlin, who plays the bass on this album, and Melissa Tastove, who does the percussion and harmonies. We all went down there with Peter, and we recorded there in the casita. So they live in this really gorgeous adobe home, and out front there's a casita, which is like the smaller house, and Peter has it set up as a studio, recording studio, and there's just something really beautiful about the warmth of the building and about just the the ease that we got to work on everything with. Yeah, just having people who you really trust to like tell you the truth about how things sound, and to get things down the way that they need to be. And most of it was recorded live. There was some of the banjo, and he plays a banjola and some mandolin on the album. So some of that was dubbed, but like the most of the all the rhythm and the vocals were all recorded live. So it was a really amazing experience. We've recorded other albums down there. I'm also in a group called Halion, which is mostly a recording group, but it's like 7 to 8 piece bluegrass adjacent. We like to call it a trans-apocalyptic pagan gospel group.
I like that description.
Wow, I love that.
But we've recorded all our stuff there too, and it's just a really great environment. I love Taos and have a lot of good friends there, and so going to Taos is like, we'll find any excuse. We need to record an album. Okay, let's go. We should go to Taos for a couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it sounds beautiful. It really is well recorded, and you could feel like the kind of liveness of the groove. Anyways, I loved the kind of interaction of the bass and the percussion on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about Music is Medicine. Was that always going to be the title of the album, or is that something that sort of came as these songs were born?
That's a good question. I think it happened somewhere in the beginning that I kind of claimed this phrase like music is medicine, and in this kind of resurgence of indigenous culture that's been happening since Standing Rock especially, but like when I was I guess it's been about 15 years that I've been really like pursuing reclaiming some of our cultural elements for my family and for my descendants. And in that, a lot of those discussions, I was seeing things that are like, our prayers, our ceremonies are medicine. These things are medicine, and like understanding that word of medicine. And somewhere I saw somebody say songs are medicine, and it just like hit me, and I was like, oh, this is what this wild. And so music is medicine was just kind of like a thing that I just had in my mind as I was going through this journey of going back on that, along that path, like I was talking about before. And there were some of the songs that I feel like, and we'll talk a little bit more when we get to his name, but that I feel like just the act of writing the songs was like a medicine for not just me and the situations that I deal with, but also for like this like transgenerational thing that was happening. It was really powerful. So Music is Medicine is kind of like it was sort of just like the North Star for my whole project. And it's funny because like I don't say those words in the entire album, and there isn't a song called Music is Medicine, but it was sort of just like this branding maybe of like the path that I was on. And I hate to say it in those terms, but it really was like just a description of sort of why I was doing it in the first place.
Like a mission statement, kind of.
Yeah, it was definitely a mission statement for the project. Mm-hmm.
And while we were on this topic, just curious if this plant that is on the cover, if you're just listening right now, we're looking at the cover of the album, which has the title, and then there's some greenery here.
Yeah.
And, was this of some significance as well?
So that photograph it was taken in Wasauksing, on Wasauksing Island. So Wasauksing is an island in Parry Sound, Ontario. And it's been unceded Potawatomi territory always. So it's always been a place where our relatives have lived. And this particular area was like, it used to be this sort of train depot where a train would come in off the other bigger chunk of land, and maybe there was like a roundhouse or something. So you can see sort of like a building in the back, but we had a really good time just sort of exploring that area. And I don't know, there was something about this photo Jordan Storer is a photographer that I worked with and do work with for most of my stuff. She's a dear friend of mine, and she actually went with me on this trip to Canada just to like take pictures and to kind of document it. And so as we were going through the photos, this one just always really stuck out to me. It's Staghorn sumac. It's a plant that has importance for our people. You can make a drink with it. The Potawatomi pink drink is what I lovingly call the drink that you make with it, but it's like a pink lemonade. And then also in the more mature stages, it's a seasoning for meats and all kinds of things. So like, and it's also medicine, and there's a lot of things that are sort of misunderstood about it. Like growing up, I always thought that it was poisonous and you weren't supposed to touch it. But my mother was actually very allergic to this particular plant. So like it's because of her, but I thought that it was like poison ivy. You weren't supposed to touch it or whatever. So like so there was something about learning about the plant and just seeing this beautiful photograph. And I just felt like that real film texture that Jordan got with these pictures, because it is real film that she shot everything with, that it just had a really nice appeal to me. And so I hope that it would sort of convey a little bit of the like easygoing journey that this album was going to take you on.
Yeah, there's an organic feeling to both that kind of analog photo, but also the typography there. It looks hand drawn and also.
Yeah, I just doodled that. I did doodle that. Yes,
I love it.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it fits.
So my best-selling merchandise item is a ball cap with that design on it. It doesn't have my name on it, so it really keeps you humble when like your best-selling merch item doesn't even have your name on it. But it's available also on my Bandcamp if you need a ball cap. I've been mailing them out. So
awesome.
Well, I'm glad you
link to that one.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned your Bandcamp because when you go to Bandcamp, you can not only get that baseball cap, but you can get this album. You can not only download the digital tracks, but also she has physical copies of the album available and at her website, alexadawson.com. So you can check that out. And the new single is also on Bandcamp, so you can check that out. But I want to hear more songs from this record. So the next song that you picked to feature on today's show is High Place. Is there anything you want to say about it before we take a listen?
Sure. Real quick, I just want to share that this was completely inspired by a book called The Mishomis Book. And it is an Ojibwe grandfather who talks about all of our like creation stories and all of our sort of cultural things that were left behind. So I felt like in reading this book, I was like gathering some of those things. And there's a part where Mishomis, or the grandpa, he says that there's many paths, there's many roads to the high place, and that you're supposed to respect other people as they're on their path. So this was just a little awakening for me.
All right, this is Elexa Dawson, High Place, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Girl, I'm gonna tell you what nobody told me. You gotta live for yourself if you wanna be free. This world is our there's many a road to the high place. I have all the faith, you know who you are. Looking for the answers, well now here's how you start. And there's many a road, oh many a road to the high place. And I am not just me, and you are not just you, but we are something bigger, and together we get through. And there's many a road, oh many a road to the high place. And you got to tend your fields, you got to carry the water, gotta make a place for our sons and our daughters. Do what you do and take up your space, 'cause there's many a road to the high place. Yeah, you got to tend your fields and you got to carry the water, gotta make a place for our sons and our daughters. You're on a journey, so just walk your own pace, 'cause there's many a road to the high place. Oh, many a road to the high place. Many a road to the high place.
All right. Alexa Dawson lifting us to that high place today on the back catalog listening party from her 2020 album, Music is Medicine. And Joe says, powerful stuff. If I got a CD instead of the download, this would settle in right beside Medicine Songs. I think referring to the Buffy St. Marie album, which, yeah, good company to be keeping for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you can get that album. If you want a CD copy, you can go to alexadawson.com or Bandcamp and pick up your copy of the album. Alexa maybe would sign it or something like that. And
Sure.
send that
It
to you.
sounds fantastic, and on that
Mhm.
record too, there you could really hear some of the stereo panning, and you know the beautiful tone of the acoustic instruments. I love that claw hammer banjo on
Mhm.
that one, and that when that mandolin came
Mm.
in, it just it just sounded so great. So I will second this idea of go get the CD, or at least the high res digital files, because it sounds really really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the vocals too, by the way, sound so nice on that. And remind us again who else is singing on that with you?
So that's Melissa Tastove. She's also in Weeda Skirts. We've been singing together since like 2005 or 2004 or something. So we've been singing together for a long time. And I always tell her, like, when we're not performing together and I'm singing, I can always hear her and she's not there. And I'm like, "This is
Ghost
so weird."
voice.
The ghost voice is definitely there. So I really love singing with her. She really brings so much to this album. But then also, like, if you listen to Weeda Skirts, that those arrangements are much more like egalant, or like equalized, as far as like the voices being more in like a chorus rather than a lead harmony type situation. And it's really powerful. So
Awesome. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to put links to these other great bands in our show notes. If you just
I
go
have a couple. Yeah.
if you go to backcataloglistingparty.com/185, you'll find all that information.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that I mean, you're probably gathering this even from the various bands that Alexa mentioned, but Alexa is maybe one of the busiest people that I know, and busy with so many cool things in addition to all the musical hats that she wears. So we're really happy that she is here to join us today for this edition of Back Catalog. If there's anything you want to know from Alexa while she's here with us, feel free to throw any questions in the comments, and we'll try and get to them as we can. And yeah, I'd be curious, since you've been singing with Melissa for so long, do you ever write songs with with her in mind, or does it just kind of happen when you bring the song to her? She just adds her thing.
Pretty much, yeah. As soon as I've written it and brought it to her, like I know that she's going to do something great with it. But I also can't exactly predict it because we're not really we're not sheet music folks. You know, we just don't we're not going to the piano to find the fifth or whatever. She's just doing whatever feels good to her. So I really love that about it because it's very organic for her as well.
Nice.
To find those to seek those notes out. Yeah. So she makes some surprising choices, I think, for me, you know, sometimes, and I'm like, oh, whoa, that's not how I heard it. But I end up loving it, you know, more with that unique voice. I'm all about collaboration. You like, the more people have a hand in a project, the better it is always. So
excellent. Amen to that. Well, I feel like this next song that we're gonna feature on today's show seems like in the keeping of this. Glad We Came.
Mhm.
Is there anything you want to say about this?
Yeah, so we were actually leaving Taos from a Halion recording weekend, and all the Kansas folks, we kind of revolve around Mike Helvey as the primary songwriter. He's been writing songs for 50 plus years. He's an amazing songwriter, and so like we are like Winfield Jam Circle, and those of us who really love him wanted to like flesh this stuff out and make it sound really good. And it had just been like a really amazing and magical weekend of recording and getting to go like to KNCE and do their thing, and like just being a really it was just a really sweet time. And also I'm just so lucky, like with all the people that I have to work with, you know, not just Halion, but like We Discourse especially, like I'm so lucky to get to work with those women, and with my partner Kelby, and just like I'm really lucky to have a lot of really great, wonderful people. And so it was a song that was written about like family, this word, you know, like your chosen folks. And I was in the smallest person had to sit in the backpack of Brody, the bass player's car, like going through the Carson National Forest, and we were just like driving through this forest, and I couldn't write it down fast enough. It was just like a thing that I wanted to say, and it somehow aligned, and I got to write it down, and I handed it to Brandon, who's the guitar player in Halion, and had him look at it. He was like, yeah, it's okay. And then it actually won the new song contest at Winfield. So I was like, fantastic. Brandon, it was pretty good, right? But no, he gave me some pointers, and I should have given him a co-write credit on it probably, because he told me I should do this or that, whatever. But once again, collaboration. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear this one. Glad We Came, Elexa Dawson here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Got here, but I'm so glad we came. Use our days to do the good work. In the night we love and play. We may not be family, but we're kindred just the same. And I don't know we got here, but I'm so glad we came. You're the friend of a lifetime, and I will walk the path with you. And if dark days come upon us, hold your hand is what I'll do. We may not be family, but we're kindred just the same. And I don't know how we got here, but I'm so glad we came. Of all the souls and all the lifetimes, how did this come may not be family, but we're kindred just the same. And I don't know how we got here, but I'm so glad we came. Of all the souls and all the lifetimes, so glad we came.
Ah, I didn't want
Mm,
that song to end.
yeah,
That was Alexa Dawson with Glad
beautiful.
We Came from her 2020 album, Music is Medicine. And I think that song really encapsulates that sort of spirit. Um,
What was that
and
instrument at the end? What were we hearing
So
there?
it's a wind chime.
mm,
Peter
Wind chime.
actually
Okay.
does tree work in his day job. He's like an arborist, and he was at some house working on something, and like it was when he was doing the mixing of this, and he was like listening to this chime, and he was had the song in his head at the same time, and he was like, wait, this really is cool. And he didn't tell me that he was doing it at all, and he just sent me the track like with this on it, and
Oh
I was like,
wow.
what is this? And i I just loved it because I told him that I liked albums where there was like sort of sound effect textures, to sort of take you out of just like this music, not just this like the same voice, same instruments. I really like those things that are surprising and sort of make you think about different things. So I had already told him that and didn't know where that there was going to be anything done with that suggestion, but he sent that song back and I was like, that is really cool. So
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah,
ah,
thanks. I was curious about it because it definitely had a little more sustain than maybe like a xylophone or something.
Just
Like I
a
was,
wind chime.
that's
yeah.
so
It was like
cool.
somebody's wind chime. He went and recorded at this house that he was working at their wind chime because it was a really beautiful thing. So yeah.
Well, it's also kind of perfect because you were talking about how you riding it in the van, like weaving, through the forest,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
there is that sort of uh, uh, also because it is reminiscent of some of those kind of xylophone kinds of sounds. It has that sort of magical, like kid-like feeling, which I feel like we have when we have those moments where we get to enjoy
Yeah.
that kind of family and friendship, and that it kind of makes you feel, I don't know, in that special young childlike place in the best of ways,
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes. Yeah, I
and
agree.
and it really evoked that for me. Well, if you enjoyed it as much as folks are, and Joni says such gorgeous songs, which I would agree with, then you want to get this album. Of course, you want to get it on Bandcamp or through alexadawson.com. Get the high res tracks or buy the album. Also, throw something in that tip jar, and make sure. I know Alexa's been doing a lot of touring lately and performing around. It ain't cheap to fuel up that gas tank, so. Um,
No.
Throw some money in there, help her get to the next thing, whatever that next thing is, whether it's one of her many bands or supporting her new single that's out today, Sweet Sisters. I also want to take this opportunity to thank all the folks who keep this show going and who contribute every week as part of our Patreon. These are the folks that, when we started this, actually around the same time your record came out in 2020, we thought we would just be doing this a few weeks to kill time and hang out with our artist buddies and fellow music lovers. And these folks said, no, we want you to keep going. Even when things started to open up and people started performing real in-person shows, people said, we still love listening to music together, recorded music, which is kind of a lost art in today's world. So we want to thank Penny, Anna, Linda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Helen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead, Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Many Tracks, Nikki, Joni, David, Sarah, CJ, Wiley, Stephanie, and maybe you if you want to support the back catalog listening party, become a member of our Patreon. We have some cool, fun holiday parties coming up on the books for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So make sure to get on board. You get first look at all the guests that are coming on the show, as well as some special private after parties with some of our guest artists. So we hope that you will join in.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of circle back to the album title and this group of people that decided to be here every week because the music, like you mentioned, it's not just the music, right? It's also Alexa. It's also the composition of it, but then it's also the kind of the community that surrounds it. You know, that
Hmm.
is so medicinal and yeah, I'm just so grateful every day for not only the music but the people who come together.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm.
I would be really lost without like um people who want to play music with me because we have enough imposter syndrome as it is, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I figure if these folks want to like play music with, record, sing with me, then I must be doing okay. So it's yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a big deal. I mean, like it's an intimate relationship to like
Hmm.
be in a
It
band
is.
or to record a
Yeah.
record. I mean, it really is
Hmm.
like, you know, it's like any other relationship, a marriage or
Hmm.
you know, a
Hmm.
long-term boyfriend girlfriend. I mean, it I think people don't realize that it's not just a transactional thing when
Hmm.
it comes to music.
Oh
And
no, yeah.
and especially when you're sharing songs that you wrote. I mean, I think there's something different when you're I mean, making music anytime I think together with people is a sacred and hopefully joy-filled experience. But I think when you bring songs that you wrote and invite other people to collaborate and they share in that, I think that is a special kind of honor because you know it's like a piece of your soul that you put out there in the world. And I don't know, I think there's always something special about having someone say, "I want to be a part of this song." That I
Mm-hmm.
think is really powerful and empowering for me. And I don't know if you feel that way too,
No,
Alexa.
I do. I think it requires a lot of trust to put something in someone's hands and be like, I want you to do something with this, and not to skip ahead in the timeline too much, but like that's what Wanderlust, the album that'll come out in February, is all about too. I mean, the single today, that's not a song that I wrote, so they trusted me with this song, and I feel like I was the person that they should trust with it because of the content and because of the
Mhm.
feel. Like it was the right match, you know.
Mm.
And when Music is Medicine was being written, there was really no other place for me to go than to Peter with the stuff because I just knew that he would treat it well. And we will definitely be working again in the future together. Like we've got, the plans for the next album are going to be going back, to Taos and to the Banjo because there's just a little bit of cigar box on the new album, so
Oh, cool.
it's really great. But it is a step. It's just a different world, it's a different world of electric guitars and drum kits, and I love it. Like I'm that, the I want to sing that rock and roll, that kind of feel. Like I feel like I finally got to put out this album that's like this rock and rolly type feel. But there are some songs that I feel like need to be treated with this kind of different set and setting. So yeah, it is really special, and I'm lucky to have many, folks that I can trust with the music, and then I feel like they can trust me with, the work that they're doing as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, again, if you want to check out that first taste of that more rock and roll album, Alexa's a new single is out today. It's called Sweet Sisters, available on all the digital places. I really dig it. And it's the first taste of the album coming out in February. So I'm sure if you follow Alexa on all the social media places, and I don't know if she has
You
a
won't
mailing
miss it.
list. Yeah, exactly. You'll find out.
I am so busy telling you about it. Trust me.
Well, speaking of that kind of, you were mentioned just getting this opportunity to sing this other style. Like you
Mhm.
have a really powerful voice, and it really sounds like a voice that you've been using all your life. And you kind of mentioned stumbling into Winfield and things were changing. But what happened before that? Were you singing? Were you using your voice
Oh,
before then?
yeah, I was born, and the legend has it, which family legend is not always like based on fact. So take this with a grain of salt, as my nana would say. But my nana's favorite story to tell is that when I was born, she and my granny were sitting in the waiting room, and my parents were teenagers, so she and my granny were waiting on their baby at this point. And Nana said, or Granny says, "Oh, that sounds like a boy." This is before the age of knowing beforehand. And Granny says, "That sounds like a boy." And Nana said, "No, that's an alto."
So you're singing
And
right out of the gate, huh?
I was singing out of the gate. Nana had me in singing lessons, like private vocal lessons from a young age. And we sang in church, we sang on the front porch, we sang all the time. We sang in the house, we sang while we cooked. And so singing has always been a part of who I am and of my life. And I can tell when I'm not doing so well, it's usually because I haven't just like let it out and belted something that I really care about. Not practicing, not rehearsing, but just like really let it go to sing. So it's a mental health practice as well as a profession for me.
See, music is medicine.
It is, absolutely, yeah.
Well, let's get some more medicine, and we'll see how many more tracks we can fit in before the end of today's show. This next song, is there anything you want to say about it?
Yeah, it's a community song. This is a song for anyone to take to their communities. I've had a lot of like UU churches and Montessori schools and like different communities take this song into their spaces and use it. So this is something that I hope people will treat like any other old standard. It is yours. It's for you and your community.
All right. It is for this community right now here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. We're listening to Elexa Dawson with Circle Song.
You belong in the circle. You belong, you belong. You belong in the circle. You belong, you belong. Not above, not below. In the circle, you belong. You were born in the circle. You belong, you belong. You were born in the circle. You belong, you belong. Not above, not below. In the circle, you belong. All of life is a circle. You belong, you belong. All of life is a circle. You belong, you belong. Not above, not below. In the circle, you belong. There is love in the circle. We belong, we belong. We have peace in the circle. We belong, we belong. Not above, not below. In the circle, we belong. Not above, not below. In the circle, we belong.
All right. Elexa Dawson with Circle Song, a song for the community. And what a beautiful spirit to that song. I agree. Love this song. And if you love it, you can get it. You can get the track. Obviously, she said it's a song to share. So we want people to share it and enjoy it. And you can get the song, get the album at alexadawson.com. And that's where you can also keep tabs on all the many things that she's doing. Again, one of the busiest people we know. So we're so grateful that, Alexa, that you were able to join us today on the Back Catalog Listening Party to share your music. And I don't know, do we have time for this last song? What are you thinking? Uh-oh, Tony's muted.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking Tony.
Yeah, it looks
He's
like
looking at the file, so
I was looking at the file. Sorry, folks. Yeah, we certainly do it. I know I could use every little bit of medicine I can get today. I think we should get it in. I just wanted to mention David's comment there about how moving that last track was.
Yeah.
And I was muted. I was probably I was saying a bunch of things, but how much I enjoyed that piece, and I love that it's made its way out into other communities and people taking it, and yeah, I think that's it's such a beautiful sentiment and such a, really at the heart of why we're doing this here at the Back Catalog Listening Party. So so perfect.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's all about sharing music and filling our souls every week. That's what what this show is about.
Yeah, I really needed it this week. I was feeling a little under
Daylight
the weather,
savings.
and I'm already just feeling all the good vibes here. So this last track we have queued up is His Name. What would you like to say about this one?
Yeah, so this one really was, if there's songwriters out there, you will understand that this was like the one where I had to go to the dark place. Okay, like I had to get into that mode of just like channeling and vulnerability and all those things that are kind of uncomfortable, and like the reason that I avoid songwriting a lot of times. But this was about in this process doing a lot of genealogical research and finding out that it was very easy to know the names of my grandfathers, but up until a certain point, it was more like the woman's name was not recorded. And this happened. I have French ancestry. I have Black Dutch ancestry. I'm Potawatomi and Cherokee ancestry. So like it happened on all the all of the branches of the family tree. This was happening. And also, it's not been very many generations ago since people like me were referred to by the name of their spouse. So like I could have been Mrs. John Doe or whatever, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the culture here it was like that. And then all of these sort of like ideas transposed on top of the fact that in relationships, both with women and men, like we tend to let go of our identities and become someone else's person really easily. And so it was kind of it was strongly a channeling song. I felt like it was a lot of different voices that were like needing to say the same thing at once. And I quite literally shook when I put the pen down after writing this one. It happened in one session. And I think it's a really powerful voice for women. I mean, mostly, but I think it's a really powerful voice for just like getting the feeling of being lost and needing to be seen for who you are.
All right. Well, this is Alexa Dawson, His Name, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
It's a quiet life I lead, out of the way, out of his way. I don't want to stay, but I can't leave. And I'm afraid, be held to pay. Keep all the secrets, this blood I bleed. I don't want to see it, you don't see me. And I'm ashamed, and I changed my name. I take his name. if I never made a sound, would he still play with the words I say? And if I never could be found to be without blame, would this rearrange, keep all the secrets, this blood I bleed? I don't want to see it, you don't see me, and I'm ashamed, and I changed my name. I take his name. You all know his name, that gift of pain. And I'm ashamed, and I changed my name. I take his name. Ask me what's my name, that gift of pain.
Alexa Dawson here in the back catalog listening party with his name from her album Music is Medicine that came out in 2020. And that
I mean,
song, like oh, go ahead.
No, it was December of 2019, and I didn't want to correct you through the whole thing because I
Oh.
was like, it sounds better if it came
Oh,
out in 20,
no.
but it didn't.
No.
It came out December
Okay.
2019.
2019. I'm sorry. I pulled that from
It
somewhere.
was
but
nearly
I-
2020. It's fine.
So, but that can be an important distinction, especially in these days, because 2020 was such a year of
Sure.
things. But yeah, music is medicine, and I feel like that song is a perfect way to end it because it has that cathartic feeling. And
Mm.
medicine can mean all kinds of things of how we heal. Sometimes it's sharing truths, sometimes it's inspiration, sometimes it's joy. And speaking of which, Jocelyn says, "Thanks for today's dose of Banjo. We did get some great Banjo
I
in
love that,
earlier."
yeah.
So
That's true.
yes, thank you so much for being a part of the show. To all of you out there listening, this is what makes the show even more special. We would have fun with Alexa no matter what, and we did a few weeks ago in Chicago. But
That's right.
but it's more special when it's shared with more people, and that's, I think,
Yeah.
the whole point of the show every week, but especially today, and the themes we've been talking about. That people together, whether they're producing the music or listening to music together or singing along to it, is special in itself. And so we're really grateful to have you all here, and in particular Alexa. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.
And
Thank
if
you for having me. This has been awesome.
And if you enjoyed the show, if you liked it as much as you say you do in the comments, like it on YouTube. Direct more bots to Alexa Dawson, especially because there's a video for that new song, Sweet Sisters, and you can check that out. You can get the new single. You can also pick up the album we've been talking about today that came out in 2019. And she was too graceful to correct me. The whole show, 2019. And you can pick that up at alexadawson.com. And mainly, we're just grateful. What a perfect way to cleanse my week and start the weekend fresh.
Oh, thanks for having me. This has been really sweet. Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, and Tony, I think you're muted too. Are you muted? Oh, I thought you were saying something nice, so I wanted to make sure
I
you're.
was just agreeing. I was gonna say like my physical cup is empty, but this cup is full, and as it is every week, and it's because of artists like you, Alexa. Thanks again for spending this hour with us, and thanks again to everybody out there who watched this
Yeah.
with us together live.
And to Radius Brewing
Cheers,
Company.
everybody! And for
Radius.
those that are watching later, enjoy this sweet medicine. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next week on the Back Catalog Listening.
Thank you,
Party.
guys.
Take care.
Cheers.